Epic Gaming Night is sponsored by Analog Gamer. Check out Analog Gamer for high-quality board game apparel. You can find Epic Gaming Night shirts and much more at analoggamer.com. This is Epic Gaming Night, a podcast about board games and the stories and relationships they create. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about tabletop games, but mostly board games. I'm your host, Roy Caney, and with me, as always, is Matt.
Hi.
And Rob.
Hello, hello.
And we have with us today a returning guest, Mark Streed from Board Game Corner.
Hey, folks. How's it going?
Awesome.
How are you? How are you, guys?
We're doing pretty good.
My fingers hurt.
Rob was just telling us all of his house woes. It's been pretty rough over there, I hear.
Yeah, but then I just decided to grab a hot light bulb because that makes sense. So, and Matt fell out of his chair.
I have a book for you. I have 4 of them.
Oh,
Easy.
Easy home repair.
It's a giant colored binder. There's 4 of them.
That's awesome.
Ready for you to go whenever.
Nice.
Well, I'm actually pretty good at home repair. I just was not paying attention at all to the whole light bulb thing. I just saw Mark's face and I got
so
super
excited. Yeah.
I did, and I was like, I need to fix this so I can pay attention to Mark. And yeah, I hurt myself.
In the name of love.
In the name of love.
So if anybody out there doesn't know who Mark is, can you give us a rundown again about who you are?
Yeah. So let's see, what has it been? Like 2.5 years ago, Randy and I started Board Game Corner. And we do reviews and interviews and all kinds of stuff. But most of our content is on the Dice Tower. So, and I'm the host and Randy's my co-host. And we have a new co-host. Her name is Anne. She's been with us a year now, I guess, maybe. So not quite that new. So we do reviews and lots of segments on Board Game Blender with Z. But yeah, it's been a blast, you know. So I love this whole hobby, and I love contributing to it. It's just been so many amazing people in this hobby that you get to meet and play games with. So it's fantastic.
Awesome. Well, our topic for tonight is going to be games that create thematic experiences.
My favorite thing.
For sure. But before we get into that, I guess we can talk a little bit about a game that we've played recently. So I'm pretty sure the 3 of us played like one game this weekend.
Yeah.
Because it was a long one. Sometimes, you got to sit down because you want to have that thematic experience and play a long game. We played Battlestar Galactica, dusted it off, and got it back to the table. And turns out, par for the course, Rob's always a Cylon.
Only when I play with you. I'm never the Cylon. Every other time I've ever played, never the Cylon. But if I play with Roy, I'm the Cylon.
Man, I so wanted to be the Cylon that game too. I was like, come on.
That's awesome.
Come on.
Oh, you want to play on easy mode? Okay.
I think it's funny. I happened to think about this the other day. You have the exact same mantra for Battlestar Galactica that you do for Secret Hitler. It's just one is a bit like more angry than the other one is.
Yeah, well,
but it's still very much the same thing. Hopeless victory.
If you want to play on the easy mode that always wins, I mean, that's fine. Or you could do the uphill battle and be the real hero.
Yeah.
Nice.
What was I going to say? But yeah, we played Battlestar Galactica. If anybody out there doesn't know, that is the board game based off of the Battlestar Galactica mini-series or TV show or however you want to do it from the Sci-Fi Channel.
It was a TV show. Miniseries, I think, is 8 episodes or less.
Gotcha.
And this had whole seasons.
Yeah, and it was huge.
Yes, it did. It was huge.
But yeah, it's all about these humans trying to escape these Cylon robotic creatures that they created that are trying to basically destroy their home world, and they're trying to escape because they keep basically jumping into warp space right outside their ship and trying to blow them up. So you're trying to jump away and like you're trying to get to a destination where you can actually be safe, which who knows if that ever actually happens in the show, but you know.
Yeah.
They just keep chasing them and chasing them. And this board game, I actually played this board game before I ever actually watched the show.
Really?
And it was pretty funny because like when I actually started watching the first season, I'm like, this is great. It's just like the board game. So,
that's pretty interesting. So I have to ask you then, what was it like? How did the theme come across to you when you didn't know anything about the show?
It was kind of interesting because like I was playing it. I actually went down and had like a like game weekend with a couple of like my D&D playing friends. This was when I wasn't super into board games. I was like, I just played D&D all the time. And I went and had like a game weekend with those guys, and they're like, we're gonna play Battlestar Galactica. It's this really cool board game. And they're like, Battlestar Galactica based off the TV show. And I'm like, I've never watched that. I don't know what that is. So they basically just gave me the rundown, told me about the Cylons are like hidden amongst the humans, and you don't know who's good and who's bad. And the theme was really intriguing. And I probably played the board game like a handful of times before I ever watched the TV show. I don't think I watched a TV show until it like actually came on Netflix. So,
wow.
So yeah, lots of playing the board game before then, and I love the board game. So it goes to show that it's not just completely on the theme. The theme is great, and like, I understood the theme even without watching the show. But the theme isn't the only thing that makes the game good. Like the actual mechanics and the way the theme ties together, even without knowing it, makes it great.
That's great. So it really wasn't the IP that sucked you in. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was the mechanics of the whole trader and cooperative games because Battlestar Galactica was one of the first cooperative games I ever played, or cooperative game with a trader. So
wow, yeah.
I played that, and then shortly after that, I played Shadows of Camelot, and then like Arkham Horror, and that is the stuff that really drew me into board gaming. So
nice.
I mean, I'd played a lot of Carcassonne and Settlers of Catan and all that stuff, but it's not the same. It didn't give me that thematic experience.
Yeah,
that's right.
That some of these other games do. So what do you think about? Do you have any cliff notes on our game there, Matt and Rob?
Yes, I will say Matt did a great job of goading me.
It was pretty awesome.
I want to say that I've come out, and I'm not embarrassed anymore. I'm not ashamed of who I am, and this is just how
Frackin'
the good
toaster.
Lord made me. And I am proud to announce on this show that I am Cylon. So Matt,
throw him out the airlock.
When we first started the game, ships just came out of everywhere. Like it looked really bad. There was no jump prep going on.
Card was real bad. Like it had like a base star and a bunch of other stuff. Just like turn one.
And then I think after AJ's turn, another base star came out.
Yeah, there was like lots of things all over the board.
And we hadn't drawn any jump prep, and it was just like,
So 2 base stars, a bunch of Raptors and Heavy Raiders and stuff like that. And Matt's over there just sitting there like, hey, man, I don't know about you guys, but if I was the Sunline, I'd come out right now. This is amazing. And I'm sitting there thinking like, that's not a bad idea. But I'm helping out, and I'm telling them, I give them good advice and give them good clues. And Matt's like, then the second, I think he said that, and then the second base star came out, and he was like, I would really come out right now if I was Silent. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I gave Roy and AJ, they were ahead of me, and shout out to AJ, crazy fun guy. I gave Roy and AJ, and I was like, listen, Roy, you do this. AJ, you do this, and you give this to Roy. And on my turn, AJ, I'll give you an executive order so then this could happen. So in essence, I almost kind of sacrificed part of AJ's turn thinking that things were going to happen. And it's the first round.
Yeah, he was against us the entire game.
Wow.
So
fantastic.
He was playing Gaius Baltar, so I said, you're playing the guy who's most likely to be a Cylon at the beginning of the game. I already don't trust you. I didn't have to not trust him for very long because I knew immediately.
Yeah,
once it got to his turn, he revealed himself.
He has some of the best character development in the show.
He is definitely one of the best characters in the entire show. In the game, he's the worst because he's most likely to be easy mode.
Well, the thing that happened is I came out and I did Gaius's hair flop, and I was just like, Caprica 6 is mine, and I'm about to take over Galactica. And then they jumped, and I don't think I saw them again for a very long time. It was multiple rounds before a ship or anything came back on there, and I was trying to do the crisis card thing to them, and every situation I got was super easy, get 7 and you pass this crisis. And it was just really? And they actually hurt themselves more than the things that I could do to hurt them, because they drew a couple of their own crisis where they lost some morale or they lost some fuel and some other things.
We lost so much fuel. It was
there
terrible.
was nothing that I could really do to make them lose the game. And then we got to the halfway point, and that's when things turned around in my favor. And so it was a fun game. I really enjoyed that game. However, I wish we could play with the expansions. I love the show. I love the game. But I've never played with any of the expansions or the new expansion rules. And so I would love to give it a shot, because it's one of those long games where I love the game. And I will say this. If you don't pay attention to the game, you will have a lot of downtime. Or you have the opportunity for a lot of downtime. And our first, let's say, before we got to the halfway point, there was a decent amount of downtime in between turns. There was also YouTube videos and jokes and kids running in and stuff like that. So we had reason for the downtime, but there was downtime. After we hit that halfway point, everybody was on point. Everybody knew what they were doing, and the turns went very quickly. Cool. And it was very enjoyable. And so if we're going to play a bigger game, because the expansions can add more time to the game from my understanding, I almost kind of want it like that. Not that I don't love family and good videos and stuff, but man, we were just on a good sync. Everybody knew what they were doing, and it was just going, and the game lasted maybe an hour after that. And it felt like 2 hours prior to then. And then once the second half came out, boom. And they were doing a great job fighting me and AJ. AJ came out as a Cylon. Who knew? Me and AJ forever, off in the stars.
Yeah, it's pretty much man, we're doing really bad on fuel. I wonder who's going to get the Sleeper Agent Cylon card and get to win the game with Rob.
Right?
So
That's
AJ,
awesome.
the guy who the entire first half of the game was population? Don't need them. Throw them out the window.
Well, he was helping us a ton, so everybody's
He
doing
was,
a great
but
job.
anytime there was a choice between anything, he was just murder the people. It's fine. We need the food. It's okay.
Well, the fuel was down pretty low.
Well, that was...
And your population never got too bad until close to the end.
Something happened when we lost 3 fuel in a turn, and it was it got real sketch after that.
What
'cause
happened
it was
is
we were down to
guys,
3-ish, or I think
it was a turn and a half. So on my turn, I activated something and we destroyed. No, on my turn,
Oh yeah, y'all
I
destroyed a
activated.
civilian ship.
Yeah.
And it had fuel on it.
Well, and also my crisis card activated the heavy, the base stars to attack Galactica, and in that turn also, Galactica lost 2 fuel because of the hit that we did on Galactica. I turned over that token, and so between the civilian ship and because my crisis card had a bunch of basically everything that was out there for the Cylons got to move into attack, and so that was an amazing round for us. And it got their fuel down to 2 or 3, and then a couple more crisis cards later, they were done.
But yeah, Battlestar Galactica, great thematic experience game.
A lot of fun.
Even
great.
Better once you actually know the theme of the game.
Right?
So what about you, Mark? What have you been playing?
Oh my gosh, so much. So the quick list here: Mansions of Madness, Innis, Cry Havoc, The Others, Codenames, Pictures, Looters, Terraforming Mars, Oh My Goods, Star Trek Ascendancy, and Pandemic: Reign of Cthulhu. So those are the games over the last 3 weeks that I've been playing a ton of. So, Reign of Cthulhu, that it's Pandemic. Don't expect anything else. But I really like how the old ones come out and how they make the game evolve and change, and almost kind of a mini Legacy-ish type game.
If you had to choose Pandemic or Reign of Cthulhu, what would you choose?
I would play Reign of Cthulhu. Yeah. And
Okay.
against Legacy, Pandemic Legacy, I would play that obviously, but over straight up basic Pandemic, I would pick Reign of Cthulhu. Yeah, it just feels terribly, in a good way, terribly thematic and really high pressure. Just really, I like how they've consolidated and streamlined the game. It really works well. Yeah, big fan.
So what changes does it have? Like, because it still has sort of like, instead of diseases coming onto the board, there's cultists coming onto the board, and once you get a certain number of them, like they spawn like Shoggoths and stuff like that, or
actually the way the Shoggoths work is when evil stirs, they appear.
Okay.
But the way the outbreaks work, or like outbreaks, if you get more than 3 cultists on the board, then you spawn a 4th one, and then an old one appears, and they move across the top, and those old ones are what affect the game rules and change the game. But you have relics. I mean, you have some additional things that to help you. But of course, you may go insane using these relics.
That's awesome.
So, and there's like a million ways to lose. Only one way to win. You have to close the gates to stop Cthulhu coming into the world. But
and that's basically the same as Pandemic Legacy. Like, you have to do like a set collection with cards and get them all together.
You've got to get 5 clues to close a certain gate and so forth. But all your characters are pretty cool. They're the investigators, and they have similar things to the Pandemic characters, but these are more in the line of those investigators from Eldritch that you're used to seeing. Really, really, really well done. I'm a big fan. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was under the impression, it's just like, it's Pandemic just with Cthulhu, but like that's pretty awesome that you guys are enjoying the game a whole lot.
Yeah, so we'll be reviewing that one soon, and along with some others. But and in October we're gearing up to do a Salem review from Passport Games. So I got to play that one with Dan King when he was in Colorado for the one of the conventions. So it's a pretty interesting game. So we're trying to do more theme related to the month, Halloween kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
So you got to review all the spooky games.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal.
So am I flying out, or are you flying out?
I think you need to fly out, right?
Okay. I actually do need to go to Colorado because I have 2 brothers that now live in Colorado.
Well, see, then you have no excuse not to come.
Well, I have plenty of excuses, but I mean,
you did just buy a house, so.
Rob, I'll tell you what, whenever you're going, I'll go with you, and we can spend some time together and some time with Mark, and then just go off and do our separate things for a little while. It'll be good. It'll be fun.
Road trip.
How does it take to drive to Colorado? Good God.
Probably 2 days, all in all.
Yeah,
take a
I would
plane.
probably fly.
Yeah.
I hate flying, but there would be pharmaceutical help, and I would get there.
Is that because you're going to Colorado or something different?
No, that's because of Colorado. I'm like petrified of flying. If you ever want to get me to be quiet, you put me on an airplane. I don't talk.
Really?
I don't. I freak out. I've actually ripped off the tray off of one of the back of the seats before.
Oh, no.
That's what?
Yeah, I got scared, and there was some turbulence, and we were on a Southwest flight, and the plane dropped about 100 feet or so, and I was holding on to the tray, and when we regained control, I was holding onto the tray, and it was no longer attached. And so I put it in the pocket.
Nice work. Nice work.
So since then, I've started to talk to a doctor about, hey, I'm getting on one of these things. And the good thing about Southwest flights is when you get on, there's not like a numbered seat. So they couldn't say, Mr. Newman, we knew that was you. I was just in boarding group C.
Right.
And take whatever free seat you want. So I have not got that bill.
That's awesome.
So
good times. I guess we can go ahead and get into our topic for tonight, which is games that create thematic experiences. So we've already talked about a few games that create thematic experiences. What are some games that create thematic experiences for you?
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead, Matt.
There's so many.
Legacy. It's just sitting right here beside me. We might actually get a chance to play one of the copies I have this weekend, so I'm hype. I don't know how long we're going to play it for, but we'll see. But I don't know. Really like that game.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we told Dan King about all of our stories of woe of Rob's copy of the game.
Oh yeah.
We got one, I guess, major rule wrong from the. It was a rule that was there from the very beginning. Like we didn't realize that each time there was an outbreak in places, you're supposed to like up the like threat level or whatever it's called, and we never did that. So,
no, right? The cities.
Yeah, they're supposed
so
to be
we're
like
just hanging out June. Everything's fine. I mean, we're still losing like heavily, but.
Yeah, we're still doing terrible. And then I realized we were playing on easy mode the whole time, and I'm like, oh no, what have we done?
Oh, well, we didn't do terrible. We only lost like 2 months.
You say that though, but like half of Asia, and especially that last thing where we just got like outbreaked out of that like game within turn 1, like was like just awful. Like those cities just fall like immediately.
Yeah.
So we're just like, cool. Like half of Asia would just be inaccessible.
In the U.S., in the Americas, because it was the Americas that
did that thing. It was
spawn, and boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
But yeah, so we don't actually know the final storyline of Pandemic Legacy, so no spoilers,
wow.
Mark.
Wow, I'm surprised.
So, we made it to June, right?
Yeah.
So,
or we were going to start June, or we were midway through.
We were going to start June. Like April is when the thing happens, and then May. We did pretty good, and then
one of the months we just like wrecked it. I'm like, yeah, we won like a bunch of games in a row, and then we started doing terribly.
We lost the first month or the first part of February, and then we like killed it.
Crushed March,
Crushed March. Did good in April, even though we lost the first game. We barely lost the first game. Won the second game. Won all of May, and I guess we played the first month of June because that's when it was just like terrible.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because I'm going to burn the copy now because it's all ruined.
That's okay. I have 2, so we can play another one at some point.
You just have to invite me to one of the groups.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If I'm in your Seafall group, we'll just alternate.
Is it weird that I don't know if I'll be in my Seafall group?
You can just give the game away. That's fine.
Yeah.
I still am hype about it, no matter what anybody says.
Are you?
Yeah.
I went to my first Gen Con over that game. I want to be hype about it, but reviewers are
quit looking at
it
stuff.
for me.
Stop it. Just you play it and you experience it and you enjoy it. You already bought it. You already made the commitment. You just play it and think what you think of it. Who cares what anybody on the internet says?
Yeah, but if you're going on a date with somebody and they tell you that the person has an STD, you don't go back on a date with them.
But it also, every date you have to do
Hmm.
like 15 dates, and each one of those dates is going to be like 3 hours. So, and the date starts to get okay around like hour like 20. It starts to get pretty fun.
Hey man, if we're gonna talk about that, we can talk about Final Fantasy 13.
I know.
And its
I was trying
25-hour barrier to entry.
That's what I was trying to kind of like make fun of.
Yeah, it is quality.
It was like, oh yeah, the game really opens up after 24 hours.
Yeah,
Wait,
right.
what?
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I just, I don't know, man.
Well, if you play it and you don't like it and get a sour taste in your mouth, we can always just play Pandemic Legacy.
That's right.
Hey, it's #1 on Board Game Geek.
I have to agree. I'm a little leery, just based on what I've heard. Any game that just if you can get through the first 2 hours, it'll be great. Really, I'm not sure I want to spend those 2 hours.
That's a big commitment, especially for like board games.
Yeah,
Like a video game can be a little bit different for me, but I don't know. Like there are a lot of great board games that I could play in that 2 hour time. That would be fantastic. The whole 2 hours, and then you're talking about a possible 30+ hour game in total.
right.
And get through, and it's more than, depending on which reviewer and stuff, it could be more than 2 hours that you have to get through. And so I still want to play the game. I've been looking forward to this game for almost 5 years.
Right.
I really did go to my first Gen Con because it was supposed to have a prototype there. And so we'll see. We'll see. I'll play, but maybe that's a good thing because my expectations are really low right now. And so maybe when we do play it, it will blow my expectations out of the water. And so maybe that could happen. But
There you go. There's some hype.
yeah,
Yep.
yay,
The tiniest of hype.
yay.
I'm excited to hear what you think. So,
I'm excited for the metal coins, though.
Of course. Love components, man.
I mean, push comes to shove, burn the game, keep the coins.
That's terrible.
You got some D&D money right there. It's fine.
Apparently, actually, I probably shouldn't say that. Spoiler alert, but apparently the back of the box says something about batteries being in it.
What?
I don't know. Like, I've listened to a ton of reviewers. I cannot find a review from a person that said they've completed the entire game.
Yeah,
Because nobody has yet. That game takes forever.
But on the back of the box, it says something about there being, like, some batteries inside of it. And I'm like, what? What? Now I want to play.
Yeah.
That actually gets me kind of excited. Yeah.
Right.
Like, what comes out that needs batteries?
I have no clue because I have
It's like a
heard
big
nothing.
plastic island that's got like red glowing LED lights and like pours smoke
There's
out.
literally like a pirate ship or like there's a kraken, but the kraken like moves his arms or something. I don't know.
Did you guys see the teaser trailer for the new Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yep.
No.
Mark, what did you think? Because you're a movie guy.
Oh, yeah. Looks awesome.
That looked really good. Because the fourth one was, but this one, man, with isn't it Del Toro? Is that who the bad guy is?
I think so.
Or man, death is coming for. Woo! Mark, I got excited because we're talking about pirates and.
I know.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
Speaking
the
of
visuals are amazing.
speaking of movies and stuff, I watched the entirety of Luke Cage.
Oh, already.
There you go.
So hype.
How was it?
It was pretty good. I liked it. Like overall, it was pretty solid.
I think I'm on like episode 9.
Oh,
Cool.
Dag, you're pretty far into
Yeah.
it too, Matt.
Yeah, I only got through the first episode, and let me tell you, I felt a little rough to get through that first one. It was so slow. The
Very
last
slow.
5-10 minutes were great, but that's it.
So is the first episode all set up?
Yeah, it is.
It's this like exposition, and you're like,
Yep.
oh, cool. When's this guy gonna punch something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I loved like the storyline and the setup and stuff like that. My favorite thing about it is like after watching like Daredevil and stuff, like Daredevil flips all over the place and does all sorts of crazy stuff. Freaking Luke Cage.
Luke Cage is just standing there.
Luke Cage's
doesn't
fighting
have to.
style, like his
Yeah.
fighting
He
style is
doesn't
just
have
shove
to.
people out of the way. Like it's
Yes.
so awesome. He's just like, get out the way. Like
Have you seen Jessica Jones?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He takes the saw blade and is like, "Here's my special ability." Tries to cut himself. He's like, "I can't break. Sorry." I mean, that's what I do. It's awesome. So I'm starting it actually tonight. Actually, when we get in with the podcast, I'm starting, and I'll probably watch it all tonight. If it's anything like Stranger Things.
You'll be up all night.
honestly, I would say Stranger Things is better, but that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
comparing.
Oh, hold
to
on.
Stranger Things is better,
just
and it's
good.
the lower number of episodes.
I don't think there's anything that'll come out on Netflix or non-Netflix this year that will beat Stranger Things for me, because that
so
was
good.
just so amazing. But
Was.
what I meant by Stranger Things is I watched that whole thing in the night because I couldn't turn it off.
Yeah.
And I did that, I think, with the second Daredevil. When season 2 came out and the Punisher came out, I still think Stranger Things is better than that, but I couldn't turn it off because I just wanted more.
Yep.
So that's what I meant by that. But Stranger Things, please, somebody, if you're out there, not just somebody with a good game company, make that board game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be
That
awesome,
would
right?
be with the upside down and the deep. Talk about a thematic game. Talk
Right.
about our topic.
Huge.
Oh my goodness, that would be such a great game for a
Yep.
theme.
That's a good way to bring it back, Rob. Thank
That
you.
IP though, that IP right now has got to be really hot.
Oh,
I imagine that is not a cheap IP right now.
So what are
But that
some
would
other
be a-
games that create a really good thematic experience?
Yeah, well, we should obviously talk about Mansions of Madness because that is crazy thematic.
For sure.
Yes.
And and the introduction of the app just makes it so much easier to get to the table. So yeah, and I mean, we've even played a couple times that 6-hour adventure, and you just don't even know it's 6 hours. It's that engaging, So
That's awesome.
yep,
The app has totally changed that thing for me.
yeah.
So the
totally.
6-hour one, does it change up a lot in between
Yeah.
plays?
So you're like in the mansion, and then you go out to the docks, and then you have to do things in a certain amount of time, and then you go off to the city, and so the environments are changing, and it's really cool, really well
But-
done.
Was the story different between the multiple times that you played it?
I think
Yeah, there were things that were different. Yep.
Okay.
I think a lot of times like the main story doesn't change when you replay them.
Right.
Like,
there are
so, like, the
elements.
beginning and the end, but then there can be, like, different rooms or
Yep.
different things that happen, depending,
clues, yeah.
spawn different monsters. Like, especially with the scenario you're talking about, like, I feel like you're trying to figure out, I mean, it sets it up at the beginning of the thing, you're trying to figure out who are these cultists that are, like, evil. And I feel like each time you play the game, it's going to be, like, different people, right?
Right. So there were definitely both times we played, the clues were clearly different to who it was, and who to follow, because that's kind of the thing, is that you have to follow them to find out where the thing is
The
happening.
ritual is. Oh, in different
Yeah.
locations too. So maybe
Yes.
they're summoning the portal thing over here one time, and then they're doing it over here a different time. So
Yep.
it was pretty awesome. I'm excited to see. I haven't played either of the new scenarios that use the first edition components yet, but I have the stuff for the regular core set of the first edition. But that's like that 5-star difficulty one or whatever.
Right.
I'm kind of scared to get into that. But
No,
we'll see.
I have not beaten that one yet. We got slaughtered, but it was great.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I've played. I haven't played the 2 new adventures yet, but I will play those soon, hopefully. But all the others I've played at least twice.
That's
so,
awesome.
And I've seen just how different the game can be, right? Because and especially even like in the basic scenario, I played that one like 4 times, and it was different. There were all kinds of things different every time, and you like, oh, okay, I know where the key is, and you're like, it's not there, and so then you have to figure out what's different and where to go, and so.
It was kind of funny because I thought when I was playing one of the scenarios, I thought that I was playing on a specific map I had pretty much already played before. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, like these guys are here. I'm gonna try to run away from this monster and cut through this room and go out over here. And I hadn't explored the room yet. I was like, like everything else looks like the same as a map I've already played. I open up
Right.
the room and it's completely different, and I'm just
Different.
like, oh no, I can't do what I was planning on doing. Why
Right,
was
you're
I
just
planning
trapped in
for
the
things I
bathroom.
didn't know? Yeah, pretty
Well,
much, exactly.
and
And I'm
that-
like, oh.
That's another awesome thing that adds to the theme, is the fact that you have that fog of war going on. Where in the old
definitely,
games, the whole thing was set up, right? And you're like, oh, it's probably over
Yeah.
there. But this one, you're like, I don't
Yeah.
know where to go. Let's go explore.
And I mean,
Yeah.
it still gives you clues of like which way to go and what to do, because you can talk to, like, I love the NPCs. Like, it makes
Oh,
it super
awesome.
thematic. Like
Yep.
all the different people you can talk to, and they'll say different things when you talk to them, different ways. And if you do different responses, they'll interact with you differently. So it makes it super interesting, and they can give you clues like, oh, go over here and do this and do that.
Right.
And like in the first scenario when the butler's like running away from monsters and stuff,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, it's so thematic. It like makes the
Yep.
game feel like it's coming to life, you know.
Yeah, and how many times have you played that first scenario?
I've played the first scenario 4 times.
Okay, so have you? Because out of the 4 times, I've only had it happen once, where the butler goes bad. Have you had that happen yet?
No, is that like after like a certain amount of like turns? Like if you wait a really long time?
Well, I don't want to spoil, but yeah, potentially.
The
But
first
yeah,
time we played, we took a really long time and really bad stuff started happening. So I could see how if you take too long,
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
start going crazy.
It was really, I was like, I totally didn't expect it because it never happened before. It was really cool.
Now you ruined it for us, Mark. No, I'm
I know,
kidding.
right?
That's fine.
That's fun.
That's something I'm really interested in seeing, like how they develop and update and upgrade the app to continue going with the game. Because like I would love to see them on some of the longer campaigns. Like I don't know how the 6-hour one plays, but like I would love to see them do something like XCOM, where like when you move to a different area, it's like stat tracking all your stuff, so they know kind of how you're doing, so they can make it harder or easier based off. I think that would be really interesting and
Would
really
be.
cool to see.
That would be really cool. And the neat thing about that, again, about that 6-hour version is that until you've played it, you don't realize right away that, like, oh, if we don't figure out clues here, we don't get to come back. So, you
Yeah.
get through that area and figure out as much as you can before you move on to the next.
Yeah, when I played that, I was basically like, I played it solo. So I was like speed running everything. I'm like, do everything as fast as possible.
Right.
I'm like, there's random junk on the ground. Run past it. Don't care. Like, gotta go
Yep.
find I gotta talk to that person over there. You talk to like a bunch of people and they don't matter. And you're like, get out of my way. Why am I talking to you? But
Yeah.
it's pretty fun. Like, extremely thematic.
Oh man, it is so. And so I have to ask you guys, how do you prefer playing? Do you like playing where someone kind of, is still the keeper and runs the app, or do you like passing around like the tablet or passing a mouse around?
I think most of the times that I've played it multiplayer, we did like one person sort of did the keeper and would like read out the things to everybody and like let them know what's going on, as opposed to having to teach everybody how to interact with the app.
Rob belts out his theater chops.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because like the first time we played, Rob ran the app and like was reading all the things out to us and everything. It's like, oh, you attack the monster and like your blade sticks into his
voices
guts.
and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
just to be like super nerdy, but like to me, it gets me more into the theme and more into the game. And so, like, not to be rude, but I'd almost rather nobody say anything if you're just gonna just read it. Like, Mark Streed is a white Caucasian male who no, come on. So
So Randy prefers playing that way, but I prefer having the monitor, a big monitor up, or like we play in my theater room and we put it up on the big 120-inch screen, and then we just pass the mouse around the table. And I don't know. I really like playing that way. It's just a lot of fun.
So do you guys take turns reading it out loud, like the different?
So whoever's turn it is, will get to do the voices and stuff, you know, or at least attempt to do voices.
Yeah. At least try. I mean, I'll give an A for effort, but don't just read it.
Yep. Yeah. Nice. I do know that after playing that 6-hour one, though, by the tail end of it, everybody just like, okay, read it, hurry, let's go.
Since I was playing solo, like I definitely took breaks in between. Go put kids down for a nap, get some bottles ready, change some diapers, like go back to playing the game. You know how it is.
Yep.
Eat a sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the most thematic games recently that has just been like, wow, you know, just immediate suck. And you know, since it's the Star Trek 50th, we should talk about, you know, like Star Trek Ascendancy and Star Trek Panic, because Star Trek Panic is one of those games. Yes, it's Panic, but man, it is the first game that you feel like, wow, this is like the Kobayashi Maru test. Everything just keeps going bad, and you have to solve so many different things. I really like it.
All right, I like that. I like that analogy.
Yep.
Because I want to get it, but like I've only played Castle Panic a handful of times with friends and family, and that's what's kind of stopped me from getting the expansions for Castle Panic. Is like this was fun, but like I've only used it as an intro game, and I've never really had a desire. But the components to Star Trek Panic look cool. Yeah. I mean, not that the components are cheap for Castle Panic, but the whole ship and the way it's designed and stuff like that.
The way the shields and the way the damage appears on it, it's really cool.
Yeah. Like I want to buy it for more of that reason. But if you're saying it's like the test, the Kobayashi,
that's what it feels. Yeah. I think it should have been called the Kobayashi Maru because it really feels like that.
Yeah. Okay. I may have to pick it up.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I think on Amazon right now. It's only like $30.
I would definitely be interested in playing that. It looks pretty cool.
Yep, it is.
Especially if they add more to it, because I feel like my problem with regular old like vanilla Castle Panic was that the choices were normally pretty obvious. Like most time, it's like, okay, well, we do this and we do this, and you just kind of like coast through the game. Like if it adds a lot more craziness and stuff, like I'd be
it does. There's a lot of things just go bad really fast. So, and it's cool too because all the different characters from TOS, the original series, they're all there, and they all have very different abilities and the way they use them in the game. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. But at its core, it's still Panic, but it just has some really nice enhancements to it.
Cool.
That's awesome. So is there a specific part of a game that really enhances the theme for you?
Of a particular game or just in general?
Just in any game, is there something that really helps drive home the theme?
Well, for me, two things. It's components are key. You know, Randy is fine with just plain cubes. He'd be happy all day. But me, I like detailed components and metal coins like in Zaya and things that just help suck you into that world, right?
Great artwork helps a ton.
Great artwork helps. And then story. Some story that I can latch on to. Reason I care about doing this or not doing it, you know. Those are the things that I look for. And just like with video games, I look for that. I sit down to play this, and within the first 10 to 20 minutes, I am totally sucked in, no holds barred. Let's play this. That's also. But I think all those things come together to make that happen.
Yeah, I think the story that a game can tell really enhances the experience of the game, because that's what
Very
you'll
much.
remember.
Yeah.
When you step away from the table,
Right.
This is the things we did, and these are the adventures we had, and this is this thing that guy did and that guy did, and he helped us out over here and then stabbed me in the back over there. The story that the game weaves together is what's really going to stick with you and make that experience so much richer.
Yeah, for sure. And those are the things that you remember. You don't remember I drew that card. You remember the story. So, and what went wrong. You're like, no, I introduced Pandemic Cthulhu to my daughter and her friend, and we didn't even make it around once, and things just went bad so fast that all the old ones were already out. And we didn't even make it around the whole table. I'm like, what is happening?
You're like, I promise this is not how this game always is.
This is not how it... So that was a little crazy, but yeah, that's unusual. But that's one of those things you remember, right? You don't remember which cards came up or anything.
Yeah.
You remember that bit. It was so much fun.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Matt and Rob?
I was gonna say, to piggyback off the story thing, games that have some sort of reading component, not necessarily. You don't have to go full Tales of Arabian Nights where you're like, all right, guys, pull out the textbook and your slide rule and let's get it going. But to that point, Mansions of Madness, it's tiny paragraph.
Yep.
That sets the tone. It sets that theme. It tells you what you should be feeling and how you should sort of look at this in sort of a narrative perspective. And I think games that do that, no matter how big or small, are typically going to have an edge over other games. Even games that just have an equipment card that's oh, cool, Ray Blaster, but it has some neat flavor text that maybe tells you a little bit of this or that, just adds just a little bit of something else that might make it a little bit more memorable for you.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in games like Dead of Winter, which I'm gonna be.
Oh man, yeah.
It's those events trigger because of things that happen during your turn, so they are reactions to things that you're actually doing, but it's got this awesome narrative of all this crazy stuff that's happening, and then it gives you choices. So do you do A or do you do B?
It's like an elaborate version of those old choose your own adventure books. Just love it so much.
Yeah, and it triggers specifically off of things you do. So it's if this guy's not out on the table and you went to this location, then this person could spawn there and you meet them and stuff. Or you kill a zombie and then this specific thing triggers. So it's definitely extremely thematic and makes that experience feel real almost,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with everything that they said. People that listen to the show know that I'm a huge art and component nut.
Yeah.
And so that'll get me drawn in. And then the story, the story to me is the theme. You've got to have a good story to go along with it. And I agree wholeheartedly with what Matt said. It doesn't have to be Tales of Arabian Nights. But if you have a good theme, and then you have those little cards or that little paragraph that helps dive you further into the theme, I think it does a great job. So I don't want to just I don't want to just waste time and repeat them.
Yeah, it's a lot of games. If you took the time to make a game and make your own IP out of it, just give me the little bit of tidbits to allow me to sort of immerse myself in your universe and your world. And even if it's not your universe and your world, we probably already know it. So those little tidbits are just going to help us be like, ooh.
But in the same
roll out, it'll be fine.
But you hit it, and I don't know if this is what you're going for, but we make it our universe and our world. When I play a video game or a board game, it is somebody else's. I'm when we played Battlestar Galactica, I was Gaius Baltar, but I was Robert Newman as Gaius Baltar, and it became my Gaius. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I love about it is I'm able to take their idea and make it my own. We're able to play these games. And now we're a part of that society. We're a part of Star Trek now. And 9 out of 10 times, I'm a red shirt security guard who's going to die. But that one time that I'm a yellow shirt officer, it's fantastic.
Right.
So,
yeah. Yeah, and back to the components artwork thing, it's in Star Trek Ascendancy, right? That the panel that you have with the levers, you feel like you're manipulating something on a ship, right? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So.
And it helps you get into the theme with all the different, like, I guess, upgrades you can get when they match the civilization stuff that you have. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. Awesome. So I already talked about Mansions of Madness some. What do you think apps can do to enhance a board game experience?
Yeah, well, the one for Mansions is one of the best examples, I feel like, because that game, I always liked it, but it was a day of prep. It was just ridiculous. Sure. It was, the old version, we maybe played it 3 or 4 times at most.
I think it's funny because, like, there would be several times when we're having game night and people are like, oh, we should play Mansions. And I'd be like, well, you should have told me that, like, ahead of time.
I did.
I mean, we can play Mansions, but I need to have it set up before you guys get here.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I always did. So, and now I just pull it off the shelf and throw it on the table. So.
Yep, that's right. And that's what's amazing, is that you can engage that fast with it. Mm-hmm. It's really well done. So in that instance, it was done really well. But, something like, Gollum Arcana, right, where you didn't even need the board or anything. You could have just played that right on the app. But that's probably the other extreme where we just went too far. So, but yeah, I think Mansions is the best example so far.
I think the app in XCOM really enhances the experience for that game.
It does.
It definitely makes you feel super stressed.
That's right.
Aliens are coming from every side, and you don't have enough time to do anything. So that game is definitely an experience game.
Yeah, I would say the timer for XCOM is what does it for me with the app, because it keeps you honest. Like, it's going to make sure you do in 10 seconds or 7 seconds, whatever it says. But I also agree with Mark. These fantasy flight apps, like I was playing around with the Descent app,
right?
And it reminds me a lot of the Mansions of Madness app.
Yep.
They are, and Fantasy Flight also did XCOM. Yep. They are on point right now. So if you are looking at making an app-driven game, I would look at what they've done and try to don't reinvent the wheel. Just put it with your IP and try to do that. The only other thing I would say is. One day, Emerson Matsuuchi, the Spectre Ops app is going to come out.
I can't wait.
September.
We saw it at Gen Con, and it looks amazing. And it's going to do a great job.
It's just going to be phenomenal.
And so waiting for that, but I would say right now, FFG kind of don't change anything. Just come out with Imperial Assault now. Just go ahead and come out with the Imperial Assault app.
That's what needs to be out, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
I wonder... Now, this is going to get mildly off topic, but I wonder how big their department for app development is. Because, so they made the Descent app, then they made the Mansions of Madness app because they knew it would sell well, and now they're going to go back and do the Imperial Assault app, but they said it's not coming out until next year.
Right.
And then they have Doom, which is coming out at some point next year, which is going to be very similar. But when I demoed it, I asked the guy, I was like, hey, so is it also going to have an app? And he's like, I mean... maybe someday. And I was like, okie doke. So I just don't know if they have like 4 dudes in a basement who are just like, guys, this is real tough.
I feel like they've been working on a lot of that stuff since they first announced XCOM, because they had that whole thing talking about apps in the in-flight report, like tons of like discussion about apps in games.
Yeah. I think XCOM greenlit the idea for Descent. But I think what was really the green light for a lot of people, because I really didn't know about the Descent app, was Mansions of Madness. The success that this Mansions of Madness is having, I think, greenlit a lot of projects for Fantasy Flight. And I don't think they have 4 guys anymore. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago it would be 4 guys in a basement, but now the conglomerate that Asmodee North America is,
they've got the best guys on it.
They've got amazing talent. Yeah. And if they don't, they need to do something about it.
And they just announced another mode for the Descent app. So, like, a few weeks ago, they added, like, more content to it. Then they just announced more stuff to it again. They added, like, a Delver mode into it, too. So I'm super excited. Like, I hope they do that sort of thing with the Mansions of Madness app and just keep putting in scenarios and keep, like, because the tiles and stuff we have for the game currently, they could, like, there's limitless,
so much,
limitless possibilities. And especially if they start making expansions as fast as they're making them for like Eldritch and stuff like that, that would be amazing.
It would be so awesome.
Something I would love to see is because, and hopefully I don't get crucified, but I actually like the app version for XCOM better than I do Mansions. Just because I know there's a lot more going on under the hood on the XCOM app. Like, it's doing a lot more calculations to figure out how the game works. And I think that would be a really interesting thing to see come out in newer games. So it's like right now they're retrofitting their old games that they know that this will work for. But I think it would be interesting to see FFG come out with like a new game that's another like XCOM game where it's like the app is specifically built for the game and the game is built sort of with the app. I think that would be really cool to see again.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Can I comment?
Yeah. Here we go.
Not that I disagree with you, but I hope that they don't do that because...
You want to keep more board game in your board games?
Well, it's not just that, but if terrorists attack and the grid goes down, we can't play XCOM again. But I can still play Mansions of Madness.
But not 2nd edition.
I can implement those characters into the game. You have no way of playing XCOM if the grid goes down.
But the thing is, if you only had Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, you can't play it either. You have to have first. It's built upon a previously existing game.
Well, I have all of them. I think I have like...
yeah, you do. Yeah. I don't.
Well, come over to my house. That's the only thing I don't like about
Candlelight.
XCOM. I really do enjoy the game. I think it's a lot of fun, but it's 100% app-driven. You can't play XCOM, new edition, old edition, next edition without the app.
Yeah, I don't think that bothers me at all. I think like I knew what I was getting when I got into the game, and that is what makes the game. And the thing that bothers me about XCOM is that majority of the time I play games to relax, and that game does the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, it's stressful.
So I have to be in a special mood to want to play XCOM because I'm not like we're working together, but I am
scented
stressed,
candles lit and
like
stuff like
so
that.
stressful. Yeah.
Yep. Fizzy water. Yeah.
But the game's still great. It's just got to be in the right mood.
Yeah, but I think to go off of your comment, Roy, I want more board game in my board game, and so that's the only thing is if they make another game like XCOM, great, and I'm still going to buy it because I own XCOM, but it's not up there like Mansions to me or Imperial Assault or Descent.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, I really like XCOM for that high pressure, but it doesn't. It's not. I think Mansions is way more thematic.
Yeah,
for sure.
There's a lot more time for there to be story and stuff like that. But yeah, I really want to see what they do with the what Portal Games does with the first Martian game that they're coming out with. It's supposed to have an app in it as well. So I know Robinson Crusoe was a big hit and had like a interesting like system for like when you find stuff going into a deck and coming back out. I'm interested to see what they do with the whole first Martian game too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I might get a glimpse of that at BGG, so we'll see. I'll have to let you know.
I might get a glimpse of that because I'm Mark Streed and I'm amazing.
Don't listen to him. Let us know what you think. I value your opinion.
I value his opinion too. I'm just jealous that he's like, oh, guys, yeah. You're not going to Essen? Yeah.
No Essen. Maybe next year, not this year.
Yeah.
So
is there anything that kind of ruins the theme or experience for you in a game?
Yes.
What do you think, Rob?
People.
I was gonna say components, but that's so much better.
I'm not gonna play a game like for example, like Mark was talking about the cubes and stuff earlier. That's not really gonna drive me into the theme of the game unless the game is just absolutely amazing. But people can ruin an amazing game for me. Like I was talking about earlier, if you just read that card, like come on, like give me something. Yeah. Get into it. You don't even have to like do crazy voices, but like get into the game. Like Mansions of Madness.
Read it with
They're going to kill us. We have to get out of here and figure out what's going to happen. Like you are going to die. Like not physically, but like get into your character. People ruin games for me, and that's why I'm select, in the game group that I'm in with now, because I played with other people and they're so mellow or introverted, and I understand gamers are introverts and stuff like that, and that's fine, but like act like you're playing a D&D game and you have to be weird for a little bit or something. But Give me something.
I think the biggest example of that for me is something like Spyfall, where if you don't have the right group, that game totally falls apart. Because I've played in those games where they just answer yes, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why we always take on the roles of the characters and stuff in that game, because I feel like there's more to talk about then, right? But still, if you get in that group where they're one-word answers or one-word questions, it's just. And then if you play with somebody like Z and Tom and those guys, that's just so much fun because they get so into it.
Yeah.
And that really is one of the big things that can ruin. The other thing for me is that when a game becomes too fiddly, if there's like, I just want to cross this river. Okay, but you have to do these 10 things to do that. Really?
Yeah.
Do you have wood? Roll 3 dice.
Roll 3. Exactly.
Turn around.
Flip this card, shuffle this deck up, roll these dice.
Yep. So those are, but I think the people thing is a big one. So I agree.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, for the next one, what do you think a designer can do to help make their games more of an experience? Theme. Lots and lots of theme.
Lots and lots of theme.
Just make sure that like your game looks good, your game has awesome components that aren't gonna distract people from the game itself, so that they're like enjoying the experience that they're having with it, and then just injecting whatever the theme is of your game, making sure your game feels like you're doing that instead of just pushing cubes around or doing this or that, and things that just allow people to step away from too much of the fiddliness and just get into the game,
Yep.
So
and a real flavor text, a real reason to do this component or this mechanism in the game. I mean, it seems like this is just busy work to make the game have more in it. That doesn't work for me. So you know what I mean? It needs to serve a purpose or advance the story, or I would get my guys to the other side or whatever it is. Not just be a mechanism for having a mechanism.
I've been so excited like the last year, and like last year and this year there's been so many like very narrative driven, story driven games like Time Story and Pandemic Legacy, and all these things are just like great with how much they just inject like the feeling that you're living in that world, So and that's what really helps create like an experience, like you feel like you're doing something more than just sitting at a table moving some cardboard around, So
Yep, I agree. Yep.
Matt, Rob, do you have any tips you think you would want to give designers?
Flavor text. But seriously, if you were to look at Twilight Imperium, I wouldn't say if it weren't for like the small paper that's on the back of each of the alien races, there's not really a whole lot of like theme in the base game, but there's flavor text on each of like the technology cards, and each of the the things that you get all have little snippets of things that you're just like, oh, neat, cool. And then your entire race has like a whole sort of dissertation written out about them. So you go, oh, this is kind of what they are, how they're like. Okay, maybe I can play that. You don't have to, but it's something that sort of tries to draw you in and tie you to the universe more than just, I'm gonna get war sons and I'm just gonna pillage.
It's kind of funny,
or you're gonna get
too,
war sons and then everyone else is gonna get them the next turn.
Hey, I mean,
it's kind of funny too because every single one of those planet cards has like a flavor text about like what that kind of planet is, and like this is a radioactive planet.
I didn't even notice that. That's crazy.
Like, every single one of those cards. I mean, the main point of the card is just to be able to exhaust it to get the resources, but like the whole middle, it doesn't have abilities on the cards normally. It just has flavor text about the actual planets.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I know not everybody cares about flavor text, but I love it. For me, it drives the story. I like it when the flavor text doesn't require a magnifying glass to read it. But I just think that anything like that can advance or suck you into that world is fantastic.
Definitely.
The only thing that I would say to add on to what hasn't been said yet is KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I think there are a lot of games that get ruined because they, to the point that Mark said earlier, they try to do too much, like cross the river, but it takes 10 things.
Yep.
Like if you're doing a space game, keep it about space, but just don't try to overdo it. I think a lot of new designers think that they have to do so much to make a name for themselves. And I think Codenames is the perfect example of simplicity.
Right.
That game is Telephone, the game. And it has sold enough copies to almost reach the moon or something like that now, or break our atmosphere or whatever they said. Like, just keep it simple, know what you're going for, and keep it with the theme and all that other stuff and components, but don't try to overdo it. Don't try to overdo it. This world is so fast. Everything is happening so fast nowadays with the internet and the way the world is just shrunk in size. Yeah. We don't necessarily want our brains to hurt all the time. Like when we play Twilight Imperium, we prepare. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, okay, like we're about to play Twilight Imperium. Let's take the weekend off. I can't have a stressful day on Friday because you don't know what I'm going to go through on Saturday. And so, like, be prepared.
Awesome.
So not every game needs to be a Twilight Imperium.
Right.
So just keep it simple. You're going to have fun. Make it fun.
Now, that being said, I think that's another good reason for app integration into games is because you can make a complex game that has that heavy sort of math and then just offload it to a phone.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that. If more games did that. But what were you going to say, Mark?
Yeah. I was just going to say a comment on Codenames. People probably flame me, but I think that the base Codenames, it just really didn't do a lot for me. But the Codenames pictures, I love that game so much more. It just the variants and the clues, it just more subjective. It just it's more engaging. So
let me just air my beef about Codenames pictures one more time. Could they not make the cards the same size as the regular Codenames cards so I could just shuffle it all together and then just lay them out? Like I would rather, like, it's cool to play just pictures or just things, but like occasionally I would want to mix them. Yeah, and I feel like since they're oddly sized, I'm like, well,
you could still do it. You could just be like a word and then a picture and then a word and then a picture.
Maybe they did that with reason so that it's easier to sort.
I think someone would get all the words and then they'd be real mad at you because then they have to have all words and somebody else has pictures, which you can I think play more off of than just a word,
I would almost say I would rather just not play the old one anymore. I would rather play just pictures.
That game won the Spiel des Jahres. Watch yourself, Mark.
I'm sorry.
I don't think it's not that I fully agree with Mark. I don't think it's the greatest game, but I think it's such a hit because it's so simple
and easy to engage folks.
And it's so easy, and it's such a great party game to introduce to non-gamers. Yep. I mean, I've played that game with more non-gamers than I have with gamers.
Same here.
And they all enjoy it when we get done playing. They're like, hey, let's play again. Can I be the Spy Master?
Yep.
And so that's what I'm talking about. They just kept it really simple. Yep. They took a really simple concept and they added in the spy. All right, don't guess the spy. That's it. Like, okay, so simple, so successful.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, not the greatest party game, but a good one.
But it's been great. I mean, I could take it anywhere and easily engage folks, and that's what's so great about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Vlada Chavato, don't play. That guy is a beast.
Yep.
It's gonna be the next Catan.
Is there anything else you do for your games to enhance the experience?
Oh yeah, I love this. What is it? That I can't think of the name of it. The music app that you can combine the sound effects. And, I can't think of the name. Sorry, I feel
Sirenscape?
So bad. That's it, Sirenscape.
Yeah.
So I love that app so much, especially with Zombicide Black Plague. Oh, it's so much fun.
That is a very sort of thematic app.
Yeah, it's
you can
so
get some real stuff. Crank it in there.
Yep, it is. I will use that. I use it a lot.
What's it called? Sirenscape.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is fantastic, and you can adjust individual sounds and have them combined to do whatever you want. Gotcha. It's so well done.
Have the zombies crashing through the door, and you're like, door crash sound now.
Door crash sound. Yeah, you can. There's all kinds of stuff you can do on cue. It's pretty nice.
That's awesome.
How do you spell that? Because when I put in Sirenscape, it's not.
I will send
I'm gonna
you
get it right now. Yeah, send me a link.
I will.
Make sure to put a link in the show notes, Matt, for any of our
That's right.
listeners if they want to check.
Will do.
Check that out.
Plug in Sirenscape if they want to sponsor. JK.
But yeah, I like to I don't do a whole lot of like upgrading components in my games for the most part. I do try to like paint some of the miniatures and stuff like that. Like I painted like some of my Blood Rage miniatures and stuff like that, and I feel like that helps add to the game when you're playing and you see the cool like painted things and stuff like that. But I know there's people out there that get super into upgrading the components, like, oh well, we had these cubes, now let's move it out and there's these now, and we had this and now it's these, and we had cardboard tokens for coins, now metal coins, and I mean all that stuff helps add to the experience you can have while playing a game.
Right. And I love to pimp out my games with, metal coins, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I am all about that. So,
do you have any specific places that you normally get that sort of stuff from, or is it just like Kickstarters, or?
Man, I don't have anything specific. It's kind of the thing when I run across it and I'm like, oh, must
this
have.
Needs to be for that game. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like when we were playing Pandemic Legacy. I got the petri dishes out of my On the Brink and used those. Just as like, we gotta have petri dishes. It's Pandemic.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
I'm gonna order some petri dishes.
You got to. You gotta have petri dishes for your diseases. I mean,
it does. I mean, it's such a simple thing, right? But it's so thematic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's awesome.
The only thing that would make it any better is if like you pick up the cubes with tweezers.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
And you have to use a microscope to find them.
So what is the best experience you've ever had in a board game?
Wow.
That's a hard question. It's a really hard question.
There's been so many.
Yeah, that's... Wow.
Wow, yeah.
I can't... I've got two that I could think of. They're not necessarily the best, but they're amazing. I don't know if I could have a best, just like I don't have a favorite movie. I have favorite movies and genres, but I don't have like an all-time favorite movie. You guys have heard me talk about Lion Wolf Squid.
Yeah, for
in Game of Thrones. Don't ever go to the bathroom with playing with my old friends. Because what was so great about it is then they talked about traveling the lands of Westeros and selling the T-shirts of the Lion Wolf Squid alliance and things like that. And they came up with this whole story of just their alliance and what they were going to do and how they were going to have roast stag because I was the Baratheons and they were going to kill me and roast my my visual. And they were like, yeah, lion, bear, squid. So I'll never, ever forget that. I just went to go pee and I washed my hands and I came back and everybody was against me. And then I think the next best experience was one of the first times I played Dead of Winter and I was the traitor. And I was a Roy type traitor. I was so good. Like they had no idea. And I was helping out and I was doing more to help the group than they were doing, but we were playing a really tough scenario. And it all came down, I set it up perfectly where it all came down to odd turn. And on my turn, I was able to screw them over enough. And one of my friends, his name is Jordan, I'll never forget his face because once my turn started, I couldn't help it. You know when you get so excited you just start to smile? So my turn started and I was like, this is how it was the whole game. Yeah, let's help out. And once my turn started, I just started smiling. And Jordan's face immediately went into like meltdown mode. He was like, you're the traitor. Oh my gosh, you're the traitor. And yep, I started playing my cards and he got up and he walked out of the room. He came back and was like, no, I hate this, forget it. And he walks out of the room. And the other two guys, Ben and Jeremy, they still didn't believe me that I was the traitor. They didn't get it. And so like, what's going on? And I started doing all my stuff. And yeah, I won as the traitor. And it was just so fantastic. But Jordan's face when he saw that I was the traitor, because like it was better than the face I gave Roy when we played Shadows over Camelot that first time. Because Jordan trusted me. Like we made an alliance. Like Mark, we were knocking it out. We were winning the game. Ben and Jeremy are playing on their phones, not paying attention. Jordan and I are crushing this. We're doing such a great job. And then I stab him in the back, and I twist it, and I jiggle it around in there. And he called me about a month ago, and we talked about it again. He was like, remember that time you killed us at Dead of Winter? We still talk about that moment. I love that. It's not all time, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think some of those traitor moments. I know there's definitely a group of people who don't like traitor aspects in the game, but I really love. They're wrong because I love that moment when it's revealed. It's just yes, that's awesome. Even if you're on the receiving end, it's so fun. And like in Mansions, I had a game where I went insane, and my thing was to go kill one of the other investigators to win, right? And so they were, not really trusting me, but they let me get in the room with one of them, and I won the game.
That's awesome.
It was pretty fun. I think one of my favorite moments though was at BGG last year. Emerson and Ignacy and I and the winner of our Jack Vass Memorial Fund auction thing joined us to play this game of Robinson Crusoe, and the whole game. It was just so, it's thematic in itself, but it was so fun because all of us were giving Ignacy, wow, who would design a card that would do that? And his reaction every time was like, I have no idea. It was just so much fun because
ribbing the creator right there.
Ribbing the creator right there. We had a great time. So that's definitely one of the highlight for me, one of the top gaming moments. And there were some great ones. I was a guest at the Cumin or Not Expo, right? And we had some great moments with Z and Sam and I playing some games that were fantastic too. But I think the Ignacy and Emerson game really stands out as one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've definitely had great times playing like Twilight Imperium. Like every single time I play that game, like I don't forget the games that I play.
Yeah.
Like, if you're playing it for 8 hours, but it's like so thematic and epic. Like I remember like when I went to visit my childhood friends and I played with a bunch of them, we played, and for some reason everybody's quest was to like control Mechatol Rex. So it's just like this pile of just everyone attacking it over and over and over again. Like I stole it from you, now you steal it from me, and we're like all trying to figure out how to get in there and like be able to fulfill our objectives and stuff like that. And then there's like one of the players was going around stealing everybody's technology with their necrovirus thing, and even like the last time we played when Matt, Trevor, and Rob super stabbed me in the back to keep me from winning.
Turn 3 of the game, you had 9 points. You were like, you were going to turn our 8-hour game into like 3 hours, and
you guys need to
committed
good.
for 8 hours.
That's awesome.
Get good.
No,
I don't play to win. I just play to stab people.
Okay,
every game. Every game.
Matt and I were having a blast that game. We didn't care about anything else, but Matt and I were having so much fun that game, just doing our own thing, just talking and about our different races and stuff. We had a blast. Roy, it's not fun unless Roy wins, because Roy definitely put on the pout face when we and I will give him.
He got it back in gear there.
He got it. Well, we screwed over Roy really bad. Like
I was still really close to still winning though. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
But, I don't know if you listened to the podcast.
Feel dirty.
They played like we were playing with a scenario or a module in the game where everybody has specific political cards instead of randomly drawing off the deck. Like you have a hand of them, and there's specific ways you can say, okay, well this person, like there's a action card someone can take to say this person actually gets to do the law and I get to be like the first player next turn. So they're working together to figure out who could pass a law to stop me. Matt's like, I got it was your law, right, Matt?
Yeah, it was.
Matt's like, I got this law called public execution, which basically makes it so all of his lands exhaust and he has to discard all of his action cards. Basically, and they did this like the first round or the first turn of a round. So basically I had to skip like an entire round of the game almost because they exhausted everything I had. And it was literally a public execution. I think like the flavor text on the card was like, for your being a traitor against the colony or the civilization, we punish you to death or whatever. I'm like, no guys, don't kill me. It was the worst because everybody was against me, but it was still a ton of fun, and it was a great experience. Even though it was negative, it was still an awesome time. So
still a great game.
That's awesome.
How about you, Matt?
Man, I should have really been thinking about this as opposed to typing everything you guys were saying. But, man, I don't know. It's really
What about Emerson in
tough.
Secret Hitler?
Yes, that has to be it. Playing
That's gotta be at least a top
Hitler.
5.
Playing Secret Hitler with Emerson, and like in a hotel, like
At 1 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
That's awesome.
we were playing it, taught it to a bunch of people who didn't know it. We were playing. It was getting heated because it's Secret Hitler, and that's just what happens. And then at some point, Roy is talking about something, and I always try to play devil's advocate anytime. So I was just like, well, I mean, you could do this, you could do that. And then Emerson's just like, that is not physically possible with how this game works. Because I was a
dropping
fascist.
the math.
I was throwing shade, and
awesome.
Emerson just stands up and then like cowers over me, and it's just like, "You're a fascist!" Just like yelling, and like Dan King's like in the corner reading the rules to Captain Sonar, and he's just like, "What's happening?" He's like, "I don't think I've ever heard Emerson raise his voice," and I was
Neither
just
have
like,
I.
"Ooh, this is so
crazy.
good."
Oh, Mark, he went off on us. It was,
That's awesome.
and it was all in character for the game. And he then
Oh,
leans
yeah.
over and apologizes to Matt. Hey, I'm just kidding. It's part of the game. But like,
Yeah, and I was like, "No,
It was
don't
so
apologize.
amazing.
This is amazing.
yeah,
This is so good."
That's awesome. Oh man.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Man, he's so good at games like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was mathing us hard.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
we still won though.
He's just a blast.
I mean, hey.
to play with.
He really is a blast to play games with. And he had his buddies there that were new game designers, and he had people from his game group. So he's like, showing them around and doing all this stuff. And he was gracious enough to let us play with them.
Yeah.
And we had a good time. We really had a great time, all of us. That was at Gen Con where we were supposed to play Zombicide Black Plague, and I brought it all for you, Mark. I brought everything. And I was like,
so
yes.
bummed.
Dude, Mark's Gen Con trip was like a whirlwind, wasn't it? Because
It
didn't you like
was.
get there late and stuff too?
I got there. I missed like a day and a half. I
Yeah.
was a day and a half late, which totally messed up so many plans. Everything got compressed at that point, and I just found that I had zero time. I maybe played a round of one thing. I didn't really get to play anything.
It's kind of
Yeah,
hard
sure,
to
working.
have any
Yep.
time at Gen Con anyway. so-
Yeah, it is. But man, the whole airline thing really messed me up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, on a completely different note, Mark, can you tell us a little bit about your new Board Game Corner Awards program?
Oh yeah. So we have Board Game Corner now has awards. So we have the Cornerstone Award, which is the games we feel are games that you should absolutely own, games that are cornerstone of your collection, that kind of thing. And then we have the Corner Certified Award, which is more open. It's not strictly meant for games, but it could mean, like we gave one to Robert Searing for his inserts that he does.
Oh, nice.
We're giving one to our show sponsor, the Haunted Game Cafe. Gaming excellence is kind of what Cornerstone Certified is.
So can podcasts be Cornerstone certified?
Potentially, yes, indeed. Yes,
You're
indeed.
like, not this one, but some could
Some could,
if they were excellent.
right? But yeah, the Cornerstone collection is strictly for games, and currently the list is such that we have Element, which is coming out from Rather Dashing Games. It's this really, it's this really neat game that a lot of strategy. It's a very strategy driven game, and you're playing the different elements and. You think Anitama, right? It's kind of in that feel of type of game. So it'll be out later this year. We've gotten the chance to play with the Rather Dashing guys, and it was just really so well done. It's one of those games that you don't know what's going to happen, and it does, and you're like, oh, and as the moves evolve, things just click. You're like, oh, I should have done that. It's so, and so the game changes every time you play. And then, of course, Zombicide Black Plague, really one of my favorite games currently still. We actually gave it both awards because it's just fantastic theme. And the other thing about Black Plague is that I've been amazed with how many non-gamers I've gotten to play that game because of the whole
Really?
Yeah, it's just been amazing. And the player boards just make sense to people, especially like, oh, you mean this is my backpack and I can thumb through it? And I go, yes.
The player boards are amazing for that
Yeah.
game.
They are, for sure.
So
Absolutely amazing.
everything about Black Plague, just phenomenal. And then our Corner Certified Awards, currently the list is, insert here for Robert Searing. We've got Far Off Games, Zaya, of course, it's definitely in the Corner Certified stuff.
That's awesome.
And Star Trek Panic, we gave that a Corner Certified right now as well. Then we're looking at some other games, and this is kind of a thing we want to do. Might end up being a voting thing we do once a year, but right now it's just going to be something we kind of roll out monthly. We might have a game here, a game there, a podcast, who knows. But yeah, it's just something we were encouraged from some of our publisher friends to put something together, and we came up with these 2 different awards, and I think it's going really well. And I think, Rather Dashing has been one of the ones that really encouraged us the most, and we I think we're going to have our logo on the box for Element, so it'll be pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there
you,
like
man.
a specific process you do to figure out which ones you want? Are you like, we have to play this game a ton of times and be like, this is still amazing after all of this? It's like all of our favorite games and all that stuff.
It's definitely in that line, and we're trying to do lots of plays. We're trying to see what unique elements it has, and games that not necessarily like are the same. We want to have like a round of, like one of the things I'm looking for right now is a really awesome card game we want to add to the Cornerstone collection. So we want to have like a span of different types games that people can latch onto that like different things.
Gotcha.
So, and then almost like once we have like the 5 or 6 games that we really think do those different things, then we might start back at the top and get something that's very similar again. But yeah, multiple plays is key, and also that first, for me anyway, and I can't speak for Andy, but for me, it's that immediate game that sucks me in immediately and just refuses to let go. Right? It's those. That's a big criteria for me for the Cornerstone stuff. And the Corner Certified is stuff that you just really enjoy. Anything to do with the hobby that's just fantastic, fun, and anything that just has a unique step towards a gaming or something someone is doing. That's kind of what they're for. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about or promote?
The only other thing I'm doing new for Board Game Blenders, I have a new segment called Thinking Inside the Box, and it's where I'm taking a look at inserts and storage solutions and game organization, and then games that do both really, or do all of the above really well. So it's a really new fun segment because I love doing corner chats, but guests don't always appear.
Yeah.
So I needed a backup thing, and I talked to Z for a while about what might be something new and different and interesting, because we didn't want another segment that just is kind of a game review-ish kind of thing. We wanted to do something different, or at least I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And I felt like this is really, and it's really a thing where you have to really love to do the organization thing for games, because there's time involved in building some of these inserts, right? And then there's money expenses as well. But for someone like me, it's well worth it. Like my next one that's coming up is on Cosmic Encounter. I've been working with the Daedalus insert, and their stuff is awesome. Oh my gosh, beautifully done, and it's just he just does a fantastic job. So.
Don't his inserts like make it so that all the expansions fit inside like the box?
Yes.
I don't understand how that's possible.
It's amazing right now. So all 5 expansions fit into the Cosmic Encounter box. It's amazing.
That's crazy.
I'm just sorting things out right now. But it's one of the big things I look for in a storage solution is how much can I cram into this box and still have it be accessible and easy to set up.
Gotcha.
And that's a reason I love inserts and stuff. So I'm really enjoying doing that series. So I hope it continues for a while. So,
do you talk about like the difficulty of like different inserts? Like this one might be more difficult or less difficult. Awesome.
Yep. And so like Cosmic, there's once you glue everything together, you want to let stuff sit up for 24 hours with the glue and all that. So it's not just your quick, like the last one I did was Codenames with Broken Token, and that insert came together, I think I built it in 15, 20 minutes maybe. And it just all the joints, everything, it was a snug fit, and just a rubber mallet, and it's all good to go. And man, and again, that game combines both pictures and just code names into one box, which works really, really well.
But Matt needs it to also fit undercover.
Yes.
Well, even in my overview, I say I think there's a real decent argument for not combining that with the others. Keep them separate.
You heard it here first, Matt.
Because I definitely wouldn't pull that out at work or something.
Good times. Awesome, man.
It's good having a good time with that. So
awesome. Well, I guess that's pretty much been a podcast. Thanks everybody for coming on. We stream these Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time at youtube.com/c/Epic Gaming Night. Make sure to check us out there. Hit us up on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to check out our t-shirts at analoggamer.com. You can do analoggamer.com/Epic Gaming Night, or you can just go to Analog Gamer. And you can also check out Mark Streed has some t-shirts there as well. I'm currently wearing the See You at the Table t-shirt that he has over there. You have like several different ones there, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah, Analog Gamer, they're the best. They're just awesome. Brandon over there is so good.
I slept with them.
We
did, right?
we roomed with Brandon at Gen Con, so totally great guys. So
I think the most amazing thing about that was everybody's just relaxing, and then Rob just like, because Rob's kind of a bigger guy, just like wraps around Brandon's like selfie.
And Brandon had no idea, he was just waking up, and so his face in the picture is priceless.
Priceless.
Yeah,
I love it.
My favorite part, though, and I was actually just talking to my wife about this a couple weeks ago, was the video that I took of you guys sleeping and snoring, and I did like that Blair Witch video of like, I'm so scared.
We're all making like different noises while we're sleeping.
Oh God, yeah, no,
that was a good time. Yeah,
that Gen Con room, terrifying. You lucked out, Mark.
You missed out, Mark. You missed out.
I missed out. I bunked in with Z and Derek from the Dice Tower, so that was a good time as well.
Yeah, awesome.
But hey, any of you guys going to BGG?
I think everybody who comes on the show asks us if we're going to Board Game Geek Con. For me, I work in retail, so it's like right before Black Friday, so I definitely can't get away. So I said I need to get one of those sweet board game jobs, and then when it's my actual job to go to conventions, maybe someday.
Yeah,
I spent, between buying a house and paying for an editor and other things like that this year. I'm happy I was able to go to Gen Con.
I know, I totally love to go like down to Texas and then raid like the Plaid Hat warehouse. Like, dude, guys, what's going on? So,
I spent a little time there last year. It was awesome. Plaid Hat's office is pretty sweet. So
legit. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Mark.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me, guys. You're the best. Appreciate it.
Oh, come on. You know we love you.
I appreciate it.
So where can they find you on social media and your website and reviews?
We're, Twitter, we're probably the most active there. It's just Board Game Corner. And we're on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us on all those places. And then almost all, not all, but almost all our content is all in the Dice Tower. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on again, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Were you just hoping we would thank you back and forth while Roy plays the outro?
That would be pretty epic.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
No,
thank you.
Awesome.
Oh man, the awkward closers, so good.
It's always awkward.
It is. It's
we gotta do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Hey, so are we off the air?
We are on the air, but we are off the podcast. Okay. I can turn off the stream. Thanks everybody who's watching us on YouTube. You guys are awesome, and I guess we'll see you guys next time. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.
See ya.